Hello, dear friends. How are you? This is Carly, and welcome to another week. I'm so excited to get to share a bit of space with you and bring you this message. I personally am really excited about the transits that we have coming up this week. There are two main ones. The sun is entering Cancer, aka the summer solstice, if you're in the northern hemisphere. And we have Venus entering Gemini. So that'll be on Thursday. The sun will move into Cancer on Tuesday. That also means because Venus spends about a month per sign, that pretty much the whole time sun is in Cancer, we're gonna have Venus in Gemini. They'll just be moving kind of as a matched set through those two signs. And that is really where I come up with this overarching theme for this week as far as connection. And a heart opening. Just in general, realizing that I think I want more connection in my world. I think I want to have more conversations. I want to get to connect like on a deeper level with the people around me, with new people. Just a general recognition of this desire inside of ourselves is kind of how I see this energy playing out. And while we are talking about it this week, because both of them are making these shifts this week, they both are about 4 weeks long. So this energy, this kind of coming to the surface, bubbling to the surface of wanting deeper, more heartfelt, genuine connections with people, this is going to be kind of elongated over the next month or so. And recognizing this is just another step along our path. Have I mentioned that I love astrology? I love it. I love it so much. Especially the cycles, the general ways in which we can see how the sun, for example, the sun moves through, the same path about a little less than 1 degree per day, very, very much like clockwork. I mean, that's where we get time, is the sun. And the sun is just finishing up its chapter of moving through Gemini for this year, and is going to be moving into Cancer. And on the other side of Cancer, it'll move into Leo. And the way that the evolution occurs, like as the sun moves through the zodiac and, turn by turn is lighting up each of the zodiac archetypes, aka a different embodiment of an evolutionary desire. Every single zodiac is looking at evolution in this physical plane completely differently. That's why we have all 12 of them. And so to go from Gemini to Cancer is a shift that is easy to feel, I think. When you get from Gemini, as far as like open and curious and expansive and new, and take it all in and sponge it all up and like just literally like suck the marrow out of life, like that to me is that Gemini vibe, very much like going out into the world and getting the most from it. And then what do you want to do after you've had a day like that? You want to go home. You want to go home and be by yourself and have a minute of quiet and solitude and like let the dust settle and let maybe the emotions of the day like really have some space to stretch out and unfold themselves so that you can process it in a meaningful way. I just remembered, hey, I got a haircut. You like it? What do you think? This is a little bit closer, by the way, to like what I was going for initially, but you gotta like change takes time. Classic Gemini. You gotta like adapt and iterate and like get as close as you can and see what else you want to change and then revamp it and adapt and iterate and do it different the next time. So yeah, new haircut, yay. But coming out of Gemini, the sun moving into Cancer, there is such an added emphasis now on home and comfort and safety and all of those being prerequisites basically to, say hi Stell, to the ability to feel. Like if we don't have a safe place, if we don't feel comfortable, if we are around people who make us feel uncomfortable or we feel unsafe around them, it is nearly impossible to let your raw emotions come forward and to not judge them or inhibit them in any way. Like, in order to let emotions flow like that, it takes an intense degree of safety. And so that's really the shift that we see from Gemini to Cancer. Is Gemini is so open to everything and everyone, and every stranger. There is no such thing as a stranger. Like, every stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. Like, that's a very Gemini idea. Cancer, we close back in. We close back in to say, it's not that you people are bad, you're just not part of my inner circle. Inner circles are made up of like less than a handful of people, typically. Like, your inner circle, the people that you feel safe enough to like cry your real tears in front of them, I'm going to say that's going to be like maybe 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 people if you're lucky, right? Like, it takes cultivation to have a relationship like that where you feel that comfortable and that safe. It takes time. It takes so much in the way of shared experiences and building up that safety and showing. I was listening to this thing yesterday that was talking about vulnerability and trust, and how we often can think or get, I'm gonna let this car go by. We can think that like, once I trust someone, then I'll be vulnerable and then I'll show them my vulnerable self or my authentic self. And it's like the complete opposite of that is how it actually works. Is like, trust comes from a shared experience of authenticity, a shared experience of vulnerability. So it's like almost learning how to open ourselves up and be seen in layers of what we're comfortable with, right? Like, we can be this much vulnerable. We can put something out there that maybe is like a little bit on the edge of my comfort zone. I'm still keeping a lot back here, but like, I am going to open up and be seen. And that's that first step to connection, is allowing ourselves to be seen. Like, so often that fear of rejection can keep us out of connection. And it's like, yes, you can stay out of connection, and that will absolutely obliterate rejection. It no longer exists, but neither does acceptance. Neither does connection. Neither does feeling like you have that inner circle of people that care about you and you care about them, and you trade emotional energy as it serves you both. You're both better people for having each other in your lives. Like, this is me talking about the relationships that I want, how I envision my inner circle to work and function, and the support role that it really does play in my world. And I've gone through, many iterations of what my friend circle looks like, what my personal relationship looks like, what my family relationship looks like. And it really is, there is no right or wrong. There's no like perfect number of friends. There's no like perfect way to have a romantic relationship. It really only comes down to a personal sense of balance. Like, one of the cards in this week's reading is the 2 of Pentacles. And this is all about balance. This is all about like your own personal equilibrium, your own personal harmony that is a felt experience inside of you, and nobody else can give you the recipe of how to get there. And so this is where I think it's really awesome that we have Venus and Gemini through basically the entire Cancer season. Like, they're both moving through those signs. So I have a bug. Get off, don't touch. So what that tells me, Venus is everything about equilibrium. That's like Venus's function, is that when you are like stressed out, or you are under pressure, or you're feeling really intensely in that moment, Venus as a mechanism inside of us is how we revert to a calm, equalized state of, I can breathe, I am relaxed, I am open, I am peaceful. So Venus is the mechanism of how do we get from A to B. And so when you think about Venus, often you think about beauty, art, friends, relationships, things that help us to relax and to feel safe and to feel comfortable and to feel secure. And it's okay to want those things, right? Like, if anything, that's like all I want is to feel like I can show up in my life and be my true self. That like the people that I have around me not only tolerate my real self, it's not that they're not judging me, they're celebrating me. They're looking at me going like, I love that you're in my life. Like, you teach me stuff all the time. You're so funny. This is the reaction that I want personally. Like, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but like, I also, in all of those iterations of all of my various kinds of relationships, it's like, I definitely had relationships with people who tolerated me, and I tolerated that. I allowed myself to simply be tolerated. I thought the fact that we didn't fight was like good enough, like, they're not attacking me, they're not judging me, they don't agree with me, they don't find my path admirable, they're not curious to know more about like what it is that I'm actually doing, but they're not attacking me, so that's good. That's better than what I had before. So like, it's a step in the right direction. But a step in an even better direction, in my experience, has been, I don't want to be tolerated. You not judging me isn't good enough. Like, I want to be celebrated in my relationships, and I want to celebrate them. I want to tell them every single way they are like one of the best people on the face of the planet that I've ever met. I want to list those things for them on a regular basis. And this is the level of friendship that I desire. So it's like, this is another card that's in this week's poll. If you're not already signed up to the newsletter, I send out a newsletter every Monday morning that has like links to my deep dive astrology and coffee from the week before. It has the Monday video linked in there, and then also just a couple other additional bonus pieces of content that I feel like go really well with what the energy is bringing up this week. So anyways, one of the other pieces of the newsletter is the tarot poll and a little message based on these cards. So another one of the cards is the Queen of Wands. And when I think of the Queen of Wands, like, basically, like, she's got her magic like in her hand, and you can see how it's like it's shooting out into the universe, and like she's got her ceremony, her candles, she's in her comfortable outfit, and she's got her wand, her magic totem, or whatever it is that we draw power from. But ultimately, she is working with the magic that is inside of herself. And when I think about that, I think about focus wheels. I think about our attention as a tool for manifesting in this world. Right now, she is giving attention to her own power. And I think that is exactly a focus wheel. There's always work to be done on the Ponderosa. And focus wheels bring me to, I've been giving a lot of ideas for focus wheels lately, and I've gotten some comments that there are definitely a few people, at least, that are really into it. So I wanted to offer that. Scooby! Hey! No! Scooby, come here. So I wanted to offer that this is a focus journal, my focus journal, 30 mindfulness prompts to self-discovery. And this is actually book 4 on relationships. So I've marked out 5 different options for focus wheels that I think fit into, if you're wanting to up the level of relationship specifically in your life, the level of connection, the level of heart to heart, like connecting on a level that's real, that lets your real self be seen. in my experience, the very first step of that is to know who your real self is, right? That logical. So these focus wheels are to that end of how can you use your attention, this tool for manifesting what you want in this life, to combine that with whatever it is that you are desiring, whether that be more friendship, a deeper level in your romantic relationship, better relationship with your parents. All relationships, in my experience, are essentially the same relationship where you're playing out your own issues no matter who you're talking to. So again, it's like using these focus wheels to get familiar with like who even is the real you and what is this dream relationship that you can feel in your heart. And bringing that into physical reality is, in terms of like how to manifest, in my opinion, it's not so much that you're doing it, like you're manifesting the person. The person already exists, the relationship already exists. It's a matter of crossing paths with that person and recognizing them. And so that's what this is for, is like, where is the path? Where would the path be that you would intersect with this person? And how will you know them when you see them? And again, that's like where these come in. So I'm going to give you these 5 options. By all means, like do all of them, save some for a rainy day, do none of them. I don't care. I've done all of them personally. This one is 30 prompts. There are 13 of these books in the first series and 13 in the second series. And I think when you add all of that up, there are 100% unique prompts throughout all of them. You could do like 800 focus wheels if you had all the books. I'll link it in the description if you're interested in checking it out. It's for sale. But the first one is, I love conversations about ... What is it that you want to talk for hours and hours and hours with, you know, your inner circle, the people that just let you take your true self and put it on full display? What is it that you're talking about? What are you going through? What's the well that you're going to swim down with them for hours and days and years and decades? I love conversations about. This is especially pointed as far as Venus and Gemini, because Venus and Gemini, how does Venus do its relaxing thing and find equilibrium? It has conversation. It gets to listen and hear new ideas. It gets to hear completely different thoughts that it's never thought of before. It gets to tell stories in a new way that maybe it's never told that story before. It's leading edge conversation as a means of relaxation. So it doesn't look exactly how you would think relaxation works, but for those of us with Venus and Gemini, that's my personal placement. Talking is incredibly relaxing, and talking to someone that you genuinely click with. I mean, I had a conversation a few days ago, about a week ago now, that was like almost 4 hours and went by in the blink of an eye. Like before I checked the clock, it had been like 2.5 hours. I had lost track of time for 2.5 hours talking to these people that feel so good to talk to. I love conversations about what? Such a good one. The next idea, my best qualities are ... What are your best qualities? You know, like imagine yourself, project yourself into this relationship, your dream relationship, let's say, whether that's a friendship or romantic, it doesn't matter. Your dream relationship, and you're inside a moment where your heart is 100% connected to theirs. You love and you respect and you trust this person wholeheartedly. Your whole heart is part of this exchange. And they are telling you all of the reasons why you are the best person on the face of the planet, why you are one of the coolest human beings they have ever met. What are they saying? What are your best qualities? What are you ready to be recognized for? Connection starts with being seen. My best qualities are ... This one, if you can't do that one, if you can't, like I always say, like, you know, focus wheels are like a ladder. And if the focus wheel feels like, okay, that's all the way up there, I don't know. I don't know what my best qualities are. No idea where to start on that one. Then it's like that rung of the ladder's all the way up there. Don't even worry about it. You'll get there, right? You have to climb. You have to start where you are. So if where you are is right in this region, maybe this one is a little bit easier because it does take the focus and put it on them. It's easy to be around others who ... And if I had to guess, you know, this is maybe just something to tuck in the back of your mind for later. It's like, I would imagine that the things that go on this focus wheel, it's easy to be around others who, are gonna be a lot of the same things that you would probably end up answering on my best qualities are, right? Like, essentially, when we look for things in other people, we are wanting a match to ourselves. So whether you're able to say my best qualities or you're saying the qualities I'm looking for in the other people, the people that have these qualities are easy to be around, it's all basically the same. It's just like, which side of the mirror are you standing on? The next one is kind of, again, going back to that Venus in Gemini. I am good at listening when ... When are you good at listening? And this one, I, especially as a Venus in Gemini and Mercury in Gemini and Sun in Gemini and a bunch of other stuff. I used to tell the story that I'm a bad listener. Let me tell you, if you have ever uttered those words, that story isn't helpful to us. Like, that story doesn't give you anywhere to go. You know, like, I suck, end of story. Like, that's essentially where I was, you know, way back when. This one, I am good at listening when ... This acknowledges that there are times when I'm good at it, and there are times when I cannot listen to save my life. When I'm bored, when I am tuned out, when you're talking over my head, when I don't understand, I can't listen. When I do understand, when I'm passionately curious, when the thing in front of me is surprising me or interesting me, like there's more that I don't know, there's more that I want to know. These are times when I was in conversation, mostly listening to these other people for 2.5 hours before I even thought to see how long has it been. Oh my God, 2.5 hours. That's insane. So it's not that I don't think anybody is a bad listener. I think we all have things that are easier to listen to and things that are harder to listen to. Like, imagine, you know, like just literal sound, like the sound of nails on a chalkboard. Like, that sound, like, literally does something to the back of my spine that says, no, can't listen, don't want, can't do. Bad vibes. On the other hand, there are certain musicians, there are certain musical instruments that just like put me in a trance almost. Like, just again lose track of the whole rest of the world because I'm listening to this thing. And so again, it'd be the same thing of like, some kinds of music are easy to listen to and some kind of music is really difficult for you to listen to. People are the same thing, you know, like conversation is the same thing. So when and what and where and how, like, how is it easy for you to listen? Like, in what scenario? And let's see if we can use that to say like, okay, well, when we're talking about Star Wars, oh my gosh, I can listen to hours and hours and hours of YouTube videos about Star Wars and like never, my attention is just right there the whole entire time. Okay, cool. So what if the people in your inner circle were fellow Star Wars nerds? Like, you're not a bad listener. You have specific things that you want to hear, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the last example, again, this would be, I think, maybe a lower level, not like the lowest, but a lower level rung on the ladder, again, because we're talking about putting the focus on other people. But this one is, I admire someone who ... Like, again, I think the things that we tend to admire in other people are either qualities that we already possess in at least some part, or the things that we're wanting to develop inside of ourselves. So these are 5 of the 30 focus wheels in this focus journal, specifically about relationships. And those are the kinds of contemplations and questions to ask yourself in the process of up-leveling your current relationships in your life. Both the Sun in Cancer and Venus in Gemini, I see as something of a heart opening. I think the fact that Venus is in Gemini will be pretty stabilizing and kind of give us a certain level of strength and hunger for this connection that is somewhat emotionally detached, while the sun is also shining a light directly on like the mouth of the well of our emotional truth. So some of all of it, but I do think that the combination together is going to give us the capacity to venture out into the world a little bit, while Cancer is definitely more stay at home, stay inside your safe space. The shadow side of Cancer is that you can end up hiding inside your safe space, and that at a certain point you are sacrificing experience and growth and the levels of relationship that you truly desire and truly deserve because it exists outside of your current safe space. So Cancer all by itself will have a harder time venturing outside of its current bubble of safety. But the fact that we have Venus in Gemini and Mercury in Gemini for the first chunk is, I think, going to help us still be charging out into the world. We also have all of that Aries energy, Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Aries, that's also kind of providing some of that same kind of backup to say, I'm really not okay settling for anything in my life. Like, if I'm accepting something in my world, if I'm saying this is how it is, it's because that's how I want it to be. Not because I'm settling and I think I don't deserve more, or I think it's not possible for me to have more, or I think that, I'm a bad person and, I don't need that, or if it's gonna happen, it'll happen on its own. The mixture of that Venus in Gemini and all that Aries energy, it's like, if you want more, probably the answer is going to be for you to go out and make yourself some more. You can have it. You can have everything that you desire. The cards this week of like, this heart opening, this Ace of Cups, this new connection, this new level of emotion, newfound emotional territory, and this Queen of Wands of like, you have all the power inside of you. You have everything that you need inside of you. It's just a matter of, in my opinion, like focusing yourself into like a coherent stream of energy of like, this is what I want. It reminds me a lot of split energy, what Abraham Hicks talks about a lot, as far as like when we tell stories, like I want it, but, like I want a relationship, but every time I've been in a relationship, they always cheat on me and it always hurts. And I don't know if I want it. And it's like, we started with I want, and by the end of it, you're like, I don't know. And so that's split energy. It's like, I do want it. So you're sending some of your energy this way. I do want this thing. And then you're like, but I don't know. And so you're also putting all this energy over here. And while you're splitting your energy, you're pulling yourself this way, you're pulling yourself this way. That's a really uncomfortable place to be inside split energy. There's a lot of suffering that can go on in there. And essentially all split energy is not letting yourself have what you want. And right now, all of that Aries energy that's in the sky, that emphasis that Jupiter is bringing is like, if you're not willing to let yourself have what you want, like it's going to get more and more and more and more and more uncomfortable until you do. So my opinion, my 2 cents, give in sooner than later to like what it is that your heart is asking for. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Astrology Energy. It is my absolute joy to bring you this message. Check out the description boxes. Check out the description box for the links I promised. I will be putting out multiple videos this week. I have one for Thursday for the Libra North Node. I'm getting ready to record that here in just a little bit. And then I'll be back on Friday with an astrology live stream where we will do a deep dive into Neptune retrograde, which is coming up in Pisces. Neptune will retrograde from 25 to 22 of Pisces. So we will be taking a look at those archetypes on Friday. Feel free to join us for that. And this past Saturday, June 18th, enrollment opened for the Soul Revelation and Spiritual Business group coaching program. I'm so excited. This is my very first group coaching program. So, kind of figuring it out as I go. I do love to have a new venture, always, always, always. So this is checking that box for me. Thank you to those of you who have already signed up to go on this journey with me. I am so excited. The first chunk of the Soul Revelation part is very much sharing with you all of my favorite tools for self-discovery and getting clear on exactly how you're wired, how do your superpowers work, how does your energy work, how do we put gas in your gas tank, how do we put fulfillment in your heart, how does that work, what can we learn from all of these different self-discovery tools to answer those questions, because as far as my approach goes, those questions become a foundation for how your business works. What is the perfect business for you as far as spiritual business? Meaning, how do you take your gifts and your talents and the way that your spirit wants to exist in this world day to day to day and make a living doing that? Is that, maybe I'm alone in this, but that to me is my dream. I don't want a job. I don't want a career. I want a lifestyle that makes me money. I want a profitable life on this planet to where I can do what comes naturally to me and survive doing it. And I don't have to make so many trade-offs about settling for the things that I feel obligated to or the things that I'm doing purely out of a sense of survival. I want to survive by thriving in this world and sharing my gifts with others. So that is very much my own personal approach to how I want to make my money in this world. So basically the spiritual business, 8 sessions of the 12 is all about my tools for how do I do that? How do I make a living showing up in the world and offering my gifts, here's how my energy's wired, here's what comes naturally to me. Let me put that together with what comes naturally to you and, make something really beautiful out of it. So basically, I said on Friday in the live stream, how I see this group coaching program is me taking my toolbox of all the tools that I've put in there over my 34 years and just emptying the toolbox in front of you guys and spreading it out, and you get to take a copy of every single thing that I've ever collected. Whatever works for you, take it, run with it, it's yours. So enrollment is open. There are posts on all my socials, whatever platform you're on, but especially if you're watching this YouTube video, check out the YouTube community post for the link to sign up, the link to also the rate for the course. Right now, the early bird price is $177. If you wait until right before the course starts, those last couple of days, it'll jump to $222. So please sign up before that to take advantage of that discount. And also, if this sounds like something that your heart was just hell yes, I want this, I want to go, I want to be a part of this, I want you to be a part of this. Even if $177 sounds like too much for you to be able to afford at this time. That is why I have put together a needs-based tuition application. So if that is you, please take advantage of that. The link is on the YouTube community post to fill out the needs-based application where we can work with you. We will figure it out as far as the price goes. So if you want to be there, I want you to be there. I never want the money to stand in the way of basically taking advantage of this as putting yourself out there to maybe find a member of your personal soul community. If how I see it is we're all coming together around wanting to know who our authentic self really is and wanting to make a living in the world doing that. And this is a big chunk of common ground for forming those kinds of soul family kinds of relationships. So it is my absolute honor to facilitate such space. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please check it out. Dear friends, take such good care of yourselves. Have such a good week, and I will see you next time.